Oh, there's Kevin Tenney. Kevin Tenney.
Hey, what's up?
What you doing, buddy?
Not much. Just hoping that my son sleeps so I can do this without being disturbed.
Yeah, that'd be good. Long time no chat.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I just finished. I'm like literally in the middle of painting right now. So I took a break from painting to make dinner, and I was like, all right, now I gotta go chat with Kevin Tenney, see what the fuck's going on in the world. And good day too, because there's some big action in the NFL.
Yeah, there is.
Some new signings to hit on today. But yeah, so we're officially our first episode from Murphy Manor. And this place, so we bought our first piece of furniture, right?
Uh-huh.
And so this is only the second piece of furniture I bought in my entire life. So I bought a couch probably 10 years ago, and it was in our first house. It was on like Chase Lounge, but it was super I think it cost me I don't know, like $400. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. It just was not of the highest quality furniture. So I feel like we've got our mattress, we've got which is like a fat people friendly mattress, one of those big figs. Pretty fucking awesome, by the way. It holds up to 1,100 pounds.
I never heard of them, but
yeah,
cool.
It's like fat people specific, so it rocks for me. But we went and bought this week. We bought our dining table, which arrived the other day, which we had our first meal on our dining table today.
That's cool.
Oh yeah, but it was not it hurt to especially Kim. For me, I'm all right, we have to kind of be adults now. It's time to start buying some stuff that's gonna last a while. And if we spend the money, it should last us. Right? I feel like you get what you pay for.
Mm-hmm.
And but man, those tables are expensive these days. I don't know.
Yeah.
These things are made of I don't know if there's drugs being muled through my table or what. But then we also bought a couch set, but it won't be here till the end of the month. It'll be here around the end of the month. So the next, hopefully, week, we should have it. But man, those are the biggest investments I've ever made in a home purchase for furnishings in my entire life.
Yeah, that stuff's not cheap.
Fuck no. No, it's not. And I love my couch. This couch we got, was the first place we stopped because we've been trying to get out, but Murphy Manor it's been an adventure. And so we've just kind of been busy nonstop. Here's the thing. First off, Kim was supposed to be here 4 days ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was the plan. Leave Utah on the 16th, have her here on the 19th. Okay. Well, 2 weeks ago, remember we were supposed to have a podcast.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting in my lounge chair, taking a little day nap, right? Because it's Friday. I have the weekend off. I'm going to take a little day nap. Not thinking nothing of it. Basically freaking in my shorts and just underwear and just ready to just chill out till I have to come in and podcast. And freaking door rings. I'm fucking not going to answer it because it's probably just Amazon. I'll get it in the morning. My neighborhood, I feel pretty good about. Outside of my neighborhood, it's a little sketchy in some areas, but in my neighborhood, it's I feel good. My neighbors say they leave their garage open by accident all the time. Never had a problem. But for whatever reason, okay, I'll go grab it. And get to open the door. Fucking Kim and Trevor and the dogs jump out from behind the bushes. And I've got to send you the video because I've watched the video a couple times now. And my face is this whole oh fuck, because I'm it's a mess in the house because I'm living in one little back room. Basically, I tried to I wanted to wait for Kim to get here before I started spreading things out. So outside of putting the computer up, and I only set it up because we were going to podcast.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I was living in this back room, which is going to be the Cleveland Browns. It's going to be the studio. So this is temporary where I'm at now. The computer will stay here and it'll be kind of my work computer and stuff. But all the podcasting, so hopefully I'm hoping to get more people as we get to have friends and stuff here. Do more just live chats.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna set up like that whole back room is gonna be set up as a studio / Roch Brown's room, and my homage to the Browns, who are 4-1, and
4-2.
we do not count games against teams that do not really exist from cities who steal teams. We just don't count those. That's like a scrimmage. It happens. You expect to lose it. But what I was saying is, so that's where the studio is going to be. But man, I got a while before I get there. Because I just finally got the living room painted today, but that's not the trim. That's just the walls and the. Turns out I'm fat and slow, so shit doesn't happen fast. I got the hallway pretty much done today. I did a lot of good work today, but the bedrooms all need painted still. But we've ripped out a wall already in Murphy Manor, and to make our bathroom bigger. So at some point in the next couple of years, we'll move our furnace up to the attic. And where the furnace is now will be a nice walk-in shower. And then in the main bathroom, we're getting rid of the tub and shower, and we're just going to put a nice deep tub in there. Like you've seen those standalone tubs.
Yeah.
We're going to put one of those in there. Because we figure since we're going to have the shower in the master, we don't need one. And so we'll just have like the chill tub in the main bathroom.
Okay.
So, but that's the ways to go. Right now, I just want to get shit painted so I can get my furniture in here. And actually, part of buying this furniture was you bought the whole set, right? So you got like end tables, nice, they call it a cocktail table, coffee table, whatever, right? But also you got a 55-inch TV. So I was like, well, can I upgrade? So for like $140, I got to upgrade to a 65-inch 4K, and I'm like, oh well, let's just do that. Now Kim, being like the reasonable one, really, she's like, do we even need another TV? And I'm like, yeah, because I wanted a 65 or 70-inch for the longest time.
Yeah.
So I feel like if it's already included, why not upgrade for a little bit more?
Yeah, if it's there.
Yeah. So
especially now, it's like it's crazy how cheap TVs are anymore.
Yeah,
I know Walmart. I was there the other week walking through, and they had, I can't remember if it was 60 or 65-inch TV, and I'm pretty sure it was either Samsung or a Vizio. Like it was a good brand, and it was only $550 or something. And I'm just like, I mean, it wasn't 4K, but whatever, just the size. And I'm like, that's crazy, because when me and Miranda bought our TV is a 55-inch, and we bought that summer we were getting married. So we've had that thing for 11 years.
Throw your wedding in my face again. Right.
Miranda's that's when we bought it, but and it's not the thin, because now they're thin, so it's a little bit thick, which I mean, it's not crazy, but I mean, it's thicker than it is now. And I think we paid like $1,100 for it. And I'm just like, so when are we getting a new TV? And it's just like stuff comes up, because it's like, you're moving in, and I just went through a bathroom remodel that took a fucking month. And the bad thing is like when he finished it that Sunday, when he was putting the lights over the medicine cabinet.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was thinking, but when he got them, the lights didn't come out far enough from the wall to be in front of the medicine cabinet. So he's like, well, I could build a box to put over whatever the electrical part so it sticks out, or we can do this and just like turn it up, because the lights were supposed to be out and facing down over the light. Well, it's like I can build a box to have it like that, or I could just have the lights facing up. And Miranda's like, I don't care, because that's what she had. It was simple. She's like, this is what I want. Like, I want it to be like the walls around the tub area to be as waterproof as possible, because we got 2 young kids, and it's like, we just wanted new stuff, wanted it redone. And it was good. Like, yeah, and it's like she just gave him the simplest things, and he's like, well, tile's the best way to go. She's like, all right. He's like, well, I got this left over from a different job. What do you like? Do you like this? And it's not, you saw it, so it's not bad. And she's like, yeah, it's fine. And it was like the colors painted. She wanted more of a bluish green, but it's dark blue, and which it's nice. She likes it, But it was like, she was the simplest thing, just like, I want this, nothing too crazy. And then it's like, so she's like, yeah, just turn it up. That's fine. Well, he had to like put plaster or whatever over some of the hole, kind of cover it up and everything. So it's like he's done, but he's got little things to do. So it's like he's got to come back, paint that because it's all white right there. And then he didn't have the right screws, which didn't make sense because most of the time, like when the toilet paper thing hanger comes or the towel rack comes, they come with screws most of the time. Well, he said he didn't have the right size screw. So he's like, I'll just come back and I'll finish it up because he just had to put the toilet paper thing, the towel rack, paint that spot, and then he's like, if there's anything else we notice. And it's like, all right, well, he was supposed to come last weekend and didn't hear from him all week. So then Miranda got a hold of him on Monday. He's like, well, I'll be over this weekend to finish up. Well, he texted her today that he wasn't going to be able to come over, and he's like, I don't know when I'm going to be able to come over. And I'm just like, dude, you got like 3 things to do. It's like you piddle dicked around for a month. And it came out nice, but still, it's like, that was a month without a bathtub upstairs. So when we had to give the kids a bath, we had to go to my mom's house so we can give them a bath. And it sucked because we usually give them a bath every night. Well, we were giving them a bath every other night. And so it's like, got that. And I'm just like, with him saying he doesn't know how long he's going to come, I'm like, shit, the paint, everything's in our garage that needs to be done. I was like, I'm just going to fucking do it just so it's done. It's like I can't take it no more. I was like, because it's like I'm used to turning around, and where our towel rack used to hang on the wall. It's like I'm used to wash my hands, turn around, we're laying a towel there. So Miranda bought this little rack for Winnie, so it's on like the door that goes underneath of the sink. So it's like now I got to bend all the way down to dry my hands, and I'm like, I can't do this shit. And Miranda's like, is it really that bad? I was like, it's not bad, but I just expected after a month that it would all be done, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna do it myself. It's like
that's why I almost want to put the shower in before we redo this bathroom, so we're not without for any length of time, because I don't really have like no one close enough where I can go unless we go up to like the truck stop and take showers. But I'm terrified. Like I've already had bad luck. Like I have to file a police report on the guy who did my fence. Like,
are you serious?
Oh yeah. So we paid him $1,300 for parts, was the parts, and that was about right. Like if you look everything up, it's about right for the parts. And then we paid him, I think, $300 down for the labor, so the 30% for the labor to put this 6-foot fence in. So obviously my dogs couldn't get out. Now, obviously, I wasn't expecting my wife to be here 2 weeks early, but he said it would be like 3 to 5 days. 3 days, and then 5 at the latest, right? If something went awry. And you would think, like, I don't know, there's probably some red flags I should have caught, but I was in no one else would return my calls, like no other contractors. And I needed to get this fence in. So he comes, and you'd think, what are you going to do? The first thing, you rip everything out first, right? At least that's what I would have thought. You rip all the old shit out first.
Yeah.
Not this dude. Nope. This guy he like ripped it out in chunks and was putting it in as he went. Anyways, so this was like same thing. Like Kim's been here 2-3 weeks, and that was a week and a half before she got here. He started, and the same thing. So finally the other day, but it's up now. Like most of the fence is up, but like it's just all. Hello? Oh, thought I was getting robbed. But yeah, so like I thought it was going to be all done, right? Yeah. And no, it works. The dogs can't get out, but he didn't even put like the top bars on. He said he couldn't find them, and he was like, "Oh, I had to drive all the way to Wapak to even look for them." Well, okay, dude, Wapak's like 15-20 minute drive away. It's not like you're driving across the town. And how can you not find these parts? And by the way, if you didn't buy all the parts, where's my money from the labor? So I just messaged him the other day. I was like, listen, I'll give you 48 hours to finish it right, or I'm going to file. So I'm going to file a police report probably Monday morning for theft by deception and go that route. But I'm terrified now, like, because now, like Kim's brother-in-law, or my brother-in-law too, I guess.
Yeah.
So I told you I want to make that other bathroom bigger. Well, we had that back door. Dude, he did that in a day. He couldn't finish the backside, so I need to get the backside finished before winter hits. But like He ripped the door out, the casing, everything, ripped the whole wall down, and built another wall in a day. And this guy couldn't do a fence in a month.
Yeah.
And he was just like lying all the time. Like, here's the thing. I don't want to say he was lying. I hope this kid really was in the hospital because it's dirty to say your kid's in the hospital.
Yeah.
But he was like, a couple of times, he's like, oh, my kid's having asthma attacks. All right. I get it, man. I hope your kid's okay. Just communicate with me.
Yeah.
Because that's the one thing I can't handle is just blowing me off. And he's like, I lost my phone. You lost your phone for 3 days or 2 days and you couldn't communicate? Couldn't send a text? Like, I could handle, like, I'll be mad, I'll be frustrated, but I can understand, like, some things came up. Hey, my kid's in the hospital. I'll be there in a couple of days. All right, it sucks. At least I know you're coming. But he just so.
But the children's hospital not having any cell phone service.
Yeah, and the children's hospital didn't have any cell phone service. Hey, can I get one of my beers?
I'm about to say most of them usually have free Wi-Fi.
Yeah, free Wi-Fi. Make a call. Oh, so he's just lying out of his teeth, I think. And so so I sent him a message and said, listen, if you're not here in 48 hours and it's not done, I guess he tried to get Kim to sign off on the work when I went to work one day. And Kim's like, I gotta have my husband like worked all this out with you. He knows what should be done. So you'll have to say hi to Kevin, honey.
Hi, Kevin, honey.
Hey, welcome to Ohio.
She's a Buckeye now. Woo!
Hey, about time you got a good team to root for.
Yeah, he said about time you got a good team to root for. I can't lie. I'm a Utah Utes fan partly.
I like watching them play. They always have a pretty good team.
I've married into that hardcore. So
yeah, I always like rooting for them. So I just like picking on people.
But yeah, it's been interesting. Murphy Manor is coming along. It's got its issues. I'm going to try to tonight or probably tomorrow. I'm going to try to change my first plugs. Have you ever switched out a socket?
Yeah.
Like the plug part?
Yeah. I had to do it the other week whenever we thought we were going to be doing the show when she showed up. For whatever reason, it wasn't working in here and I needed to charge everything. And I ended up, luckily I still had one in the garage. So I changed it out. And when I was pulling it apart, I was like, what the fuck did they do? Because they had like 2 different power lines coming in from 2 different spots going to each of the screws that you got to screw it in. Yeah. And I'm like, how'd they even get this shit on here? So it's like, it took me a while. I got it all. It still wasn't working. I'm like, what the fuck? So it's like, I'm walking out, I'm turning on the lights, and I'm looking, trying to like figure out where the power cord goes that side. Because one went to the back and the other went the opposite way. So I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm walking through by the washer and stuff. Well, the one light by the washer wasn't coming on. And I'm like, why the fuck is this light not working? And that's where the power cord went to. So it's like when I pulled it, it kind of moved the light and a big spark happened. And I'm like, what the hell? So here it was like the wires were coming apart inside of there because some reason it all tied into there. Well, then I found out that our freezer, the extension, the surge protector our freezer's on, went into that also. So our freezer was off. So we had a bunch of meat that was unthawed. We had to get rid of. And it's like, so luckily, we didn't get on, which my computer would have died anyways. But next morning I had to go and buy a new light thing and rewire it, everything, and get it all working. But yeah, the sockets aren't bad. You just gotta make sure the power's off. So make sure it works. As long as it works first, I always just plug in a light or a little stereo, whatever I have around. Sometimes I have to plug in so it can be on. So when I flip the breaker, I know it's off. Because one day I was trying to change it, and I'm like, what is that weird feeling? And then I touched both wires at the same time, and I was like, oh, that's it. So I think I might just piss myself.
I got a tester because I've been buying some stuff, tools I didn't have. So I bought a tester and a fucking one of those things to find studs. But yeah, I got to change every one. So it's like this house. Here's the thing. I love Murphy Manor. So don't be mad at me, Murphy Manor. I love you. I'm all about you. You're going to be awesome someday. But the renters that were here before us half-assed everything. And I don't think the owner ever update. Everything's from like the day it was built. Like I'm confident these are the same sockets that were put in the day the house was built.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Because like nothing.
All the same crap.
They just fall right out. Like you put a plug in and it's just like, oh, it just fall out.
And ours also, not only that, but when they painted, they put like 20 coats of paint of the same paint on everything, and they just painted over all the sockets. So it's like it was so thick on there, I couldn't just get like the covers to come off. I had to break them off with a hammer because I couldn't get even a screwdriver to like break it free. So I was hitting them with hammers to break the covers off, and then we had to change all the sockets and everything on top of that.
Oh, they did half-ass paint jobs. So like, you know how you put like those drywall things in for when you're putting up like a TV mount?
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to put, because you can't get to the stud, so you got to put in the drywall anchor.
Mm.
You can't get to directly to the stud right where you want it. So they just painted right over them instead of popping them in and, you know, filling the hole.
Yeah.
And then there's like, they didn't paint the edges at all. So you had like an inch of the edge in my room is like a different color than the rest of the room. It's been fun. I think it'll be good once it's done, but we got a long way to go before we're where we want to be. But we got some good plans. We're making good motion. I honestly just want to get like, my goal this weekend is to get everything in the living room and the dining room painted, trim and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So like we just have something complete. Just so we can like breathe and go, okay, that's complete. We can set up the living room now. We've already got the dining room set up, but we can set up the living room and move on to like painting the kitchen.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and then work our way to the trim in the hallway and our bedrooms. And then whatever the next project, you know, approaches. But yeah, so Murphy Manor, got the whole family here finally. The dogs made it, which I'm glad. Part of me is glad they surprised me because I was terrified of the trip with the dogs and like one of them getting around. Because here's the thing, like it would have crushed me if one of them got, but I couldn't imagine like Kim and Trevor if one of them would have got like ran out in the highway and got murdered. It would have been messed up. Anyways, so since the last time we talked, there's been a football season going on. I don't know if you know this.
Oh, I know this.
Steelers like 5-0.
Mm-hmm. We talked right after the Kansas City game. And that was the last time we talked. And it was like, you know, 2020 has been such a shitty year. Like, you know, everything's been so out of whack with everything. And, you know, we didn't even know if we were going to have a football season. And it's like football started and it's like, how long is it going to last? And it's like Browns got blown out first week. And I was like, that's the first normal thing of the fucking year to happen. Then they go on that nice 4-1 run. And this is why I love Browns fans, because, you know, the dumbass beside me, he still blares Cleveland Browns radio every day. And it's like, get blown out by Baltimore. And I'm like, it's not that big of a surprise. Baltimore, compared to going from last year, Baltimore is a way better team than Cleveland. I mean, there's no way around it. And it's like, so they got blown out, but it's like everyone hates Baker Mayfield. And then they go 4-1. So they beat 3 shitty teams and a team that's doesn't know what the hell they're doing. And everyone's like, oh, Baker Mayfield, he's their guy. He's our quarterback of the future, franchise, blah, blah. Then he's playing hurt against the Steelers, who's got a top defense, and they beat the shit out of him. And everyone's like, and he got pulled, which I wouldn't even let him came out after halftime. There was no reason for him to come back out after
I don't
halftime.
disagree.
And then it's just like everyone's like, oh, we got to move on. Baker's horrible. And it's like, dude, your offensive line sucks. He was hurt. They beat the hell out of him. And it's just like, what do you want him to do? And then you find out Landry's playing with a broken rib. So, in my opinion, your best receiver on the team is hurt. And it's just like, you know, everyone's going crazy. And it's like,
oh, and you're down Chubb.
Yeah, and you lost Chubb. Because I think, don't get me wrong, I still believe Steelers would have won that game with Chubb, but I think it would have been closer. Because I love Hunt. I like Hunt and Chubb, but I've told you from the get-go, I've always thought Hunt is a better all-around running back.
And I
Chubb is a hell of a power running back.
I like Ernest Johnson.
Yeah, he's not bad, but I mean, he's not Chubb.
No,
so
but here's the thing.
It's like, if Chubb is there, I believe the game's closer, but I still think the Steelers beat him. I mean, that defense, you saw what happened.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like everyone's going crazy, and it's like, you're not – even the radio, when I had from what I heard, and of course you listen to, like, anything that talked about the Browns, because every sports thing on ESPN or anything was just, you know, Baker's not the guy. You got to move on, this and that. And it's like, instead of looking at it like that and just slamming your quarterback, why don't you be like most teams and look at it and be like, the Steelers and Ravens have been the top of that division for so long. That's where you want to be. You are not competitive with the top 2 teams in that division. You should look at that as, what do we need? Well, our offensive line can't block anybody from either one of those teams. We need to work on the offensive line. I mean, that should be your
The offensive line's played pretty good this year
against shitty defense. But you're not. I mean, when you want to win a division, you got to be able to play against those teams, and you can't play against the top 2 teams. And I mean, even the first time they played the Bengals, they had trouble. So I mean, and the Bengals are a horrible team.
I don't think they had much trouble against the Bengals, but I see where you're coming from with the Ravens and the Steelers.
You got to look at that. And it's like they're making improvements because I think, that signing, the guy from Tennessee, that was a smart signing. I think the center's pretty good, but wasn't the guard missing because wasn't he out injured or something?
Yeah.
It's like, so you got, I can't remember which one he is. So it's like, I'm not sure how good of the guard is, but
even the rookie, they got playing left tackle's a pimp.
So it's just
playing out of his mind.
Well, Bud Dupree or TJ Watt might have a different story about that one.
Well, sure,
thing. Yeah, I know, I understand.
But he's a rookie playing against an elite defense. That's why I didn't even bitch a whole lot about last week. Here's the deal. I feel really good about where we're at. You look at if you want to count the loss against the team from Maryland, fine.
I mean, it is.
We're 4-2, which I think is better than people were giving us credit for going into this part of the year. And I think we've won the games we should have. We've lost the games most people probably had as L's anyways. The 2 teams we lost to, and this is going to sound like an excuse, then that's fine. But at the end of the day, those are 2 franchises that have had their teams together for years, right?
Oh, yeah.
Seasons and seasons, especially Pittsburgh.
Forever, I agree with you 100%.
Cleveland had no preseason. We had to put in a completely new offense with a completely new head coach, a whole new coaching staff. So to be 4-2 right now, and honestly, we could, if we can pull off, because I think we should beat Cincinnati. Who knows? It's a division rival game. Anything can happen in those. But if we can pull off a win against Vegas, who seems to kind of be getting they came out of their shell a little bit against Kansas City last week. Yeah. But if we can come out of the first 8 games and go into our bye week at 6-2, okay, Baker needs to improve, but hey, Bonesy, there's our Bonesy visit. Yeah. But if we could come out of this league 6-2 in the first half of the year and be staring at a legit possibility of being that all 3 of those teams going into the playoffs from our division, it's a win. I won't complain at all. Even for 5-3, I'm good. Because if you look at the back end of our schedule, outside of the Pittsburgh and the team from Maryland, our schedule's pretty weak on the back end.
Yeah.
So we could finish strong, and guess what? We're more time with under Stefanski. I will say the one thing I don't like about Stefanski, especially since Chubb went down, he goes away from the run too fast.
Yeah. I just think he does that. My opinion from him in Minnesota the last couple of years, I just think a lot of that is him trying to utilize Hunt as a receiver more is the way I look at it. I don't think it's right. Don't get me wrong. I think, I agree with you that they got away from the run too early, especially getting away from the run too early against a team that's blitzing 7 guys every time. That's not really the smart thing, especially when your quarterback's hurt, because those guys, if he didn't go down quick and he was kind of getting held up, they were taking shots at those ribs the entire time.
I would have pulled Baker before even halftime. There's nothing wrong with being pulled for your health.
Yeah, but everyone didn't take it that way, which is,
I know.
And he got pulled. Like I said, I was like, I wouldn't have let him come out after halftime. And everyone's like my phone was blowing up. It's like Baker's bench, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you knew he was going in with a rib injury. Why? Everyone was trying to make it more than it was. And I'm like, there's nothing behind this. I was like, I don't understand it.
No, I think, and no, you're 100% right. You have I feel like for the first time maybe ever, I'm probably the more realistic that I've ever been as a Browns fan. And I don't know that I would even play Baker, because if you think about that, injury happened last week.
Yeah.
And with Chubb being down, maybe you let him start, but you take him out quick, especially when it got out of control fast.
Yeah.
When you're down, we were down at what point, 24-7 or something, you pull him.
Nothing.
Yeah, fine. Yank him then. He's he's cringing every time he throws the ball.
Yeah.
There's just no value. You brought in Case Keenum because he knows the offense. Even though I don't love Case Keenum, you brought him in. He knows the offense. Let him play. Let him take the licks.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. That's why you have a backup quarterback. love Baker, hate Baker. We all knew he's going to throw interceptions. He does. It's going to happen. If you think Baker's ever going to be the guy who like leads the league with the least amount of interceptions, then you're just ridiculous. That's not going to happen. He is a gunslinger. He's going to make some shit throws. I understand that. But guess what? No one was bitching and moaning, like you said, when we won 4 in a row, including myself. Like, you just have to take the good bet. And like, you have to come in with like, you give Pittsburgh all the credit, 5-0. That team is slick. I thought Big Ben would take longer to get it like into full playing mode.
Yeah.
That guy came in prepared. Ton of respect for that rapist. But
alleged
rapist. That's right. My bad. Alleged rapist. A ton of respect for him. But like I don't care about the team from Maryland. I give a shit if their plane crashes like Marshall. Don't care. But
why you gotta be there on Marshall like that? Come on.
I'm just saying, like, I love Marshall. I'm just saying, if they have that Marshall incident, I wouldn't be heartbroken. I wouldn't be wearing like a little Raven emblem on my jersey. That's all I'm saying. But Pittsburgh, I respect them. And I wanted to see where we at. And you're right. It shows that we got some work to do. But we also have like a whole half season to go, more than half season. I am interested. What do you think about like the Joe Burrow? What do you think about him so far?
I like him. I think he's legit. I think they're not using him right because, like, that Browns game when they played on that Thursday night, he threw 60. He had 61 pass attempts. There's no reason he should be throwing that many times in a game yet. That was only the second week of the year. Like, I thought that was ridiculous.
I think that's poor coaching. That's what I was going to agree. That's exactly what I was going to say.
They were down a lot. They were in that game the entire time.
I think the guys.
I don't know. I just thought that was crazy.
He's a gunslinger, and he's going to have a good game against Cleveland this week because we are really a patchwork on that defensive backfield. Greedy Williams on the IR, hasn't played a game this year. Everyone's hurt, bumped up.
I know West Virginia guy, Carl Joseph. I know he's been off and on hurt.
Yeah, he has. I don't think he's played much either, and he's one of the people they're really excited about.
I was very upset when the Raiders cut him and he went to Cleveland. I was like, "What are you doing to me?" I was like, "I can't root for you ever again now, at least until you leave, you jerk." So, but yeah, I always liked him at West Virginia. He ended up leaving early because he hurt. I think he tore his ACL his junior year, and so he entered into the draft. But yeah, I've always liked him, and that's why I was shocked by the Raiders cutting him because it's not like he was that old. This is what might be his 5th year in the league. Something like that. It's not that long.
Yeah, no, it hasn't been. I think he'll be okay. But we got to get healthy. So I think he'll have a huge game, but it's going to be like we did last time. We got to. It's okay if we give up a shit ton of yards. We just can't get into a shooting war because they're better. They've improved since we saw them last. But I still think Cleveland should come out with the win. I think Burrow. I think he's legit. I think if they build around him properly, which is going to mean they need to get him a line. I think that line is dismal. Yeah, especially for as much as they're throwing.
Yeah, and he's been getting hit way too much. It's kind of like David Carr in Houston. Every time you turn around, he's getting blown up.
Or Tim Couch. Yeah, let's go even further back. Tim Couch in Cleveland. Yeah. Like you gotta protect those guys. I've always said if I was Cleveland when I came out in '99, I would have drafted Couch. Not because I didn't think he was the best guy to go. But I would have only picked offensive and defensive linemen that first draft. And then I would have had some like free agent guys that could take a beating for a year or two while I built my lineup. And then I bring in my star quarterback who's going to hold my team down for 5 or 6 years. Yeah. Other surprises this year is for me is I think that look at guys that I called bust that I think are coming out as bust now. And that's Wentz. And that's the dude who just got cut or traded or whatever he is, released from the Cardinals. Was it the Cardinals? Josh Rosen.
Oh, he was Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I'm pretty much
practice squad. And that's what I was going to ask you. I wanted to bring that up. Well, it wasn't him, but he kind of Sam Darnold, all the crap going on with him right now. Made me think about it.
Another guy called a bust, and I'm looking very good.
Yes, but I think a lot of that has to do with the system. I'd be interested to see how he does at a different team. But yeah, it's definitely looking like a bust. I agree because I thought the same thing.
Someone mentioned about a trade to Indianapolis for him, and I honestly thought that'd be a good idea, like a change of atmosphere.
Yeah, I agree. He needs traded, but I don't think it's going to be the Colts because they got too much money wrapped up in quarterbacks. They're paying Philip Rivers $25 million to throw interceptions, and they are paying Brissett like $15 million to sit on the bench. So I just don't see him because they were talking about Fitzpatrick getting benched for Tua, about him possibly being traded, and on McAfee show, and someone's like, "Well, how about the Colts?" And it's like, yeah, they got way too much money wrapped up in quarterbacks for the Colts to trade. I mean, it would be a shock if he did. But
the Cowboys should go after Fitzpatrick.
That was the team they all decided on. But I wanted to ask you with Donald and all that stuff. It was before the draft because I know Eric was on the show, and I don't remember the last time he was on the show. But I brought up the question out of that rookie quarterback class of Mayfield, Darnold, Allen, Rosen. Who's the fifth one? Oh, Lamar Jackson. It's like, where would you rank them? And I think, if I remember right, I think you went Lamar. Where'd you go? Lamar, Mayfield, Allen, and then like Darnold and Rosen, I think. And I had Allen, and I put Lamar because he won the MVP. And then I had Mayfield third. Now, with the way everything's going this year, how would you keep yours the same or would you change yours?
No, I'd probably put Allen over Mayfield. I think Allen's having a breakout year. I mean, he's had a couple of problems, but I think he's honestly had a jump. Honestly, but I keep the bottom guys the same. However,
that's why I just stopped reading mine off because
we know
who the bottom two are, but it's like the top three.
You have to give the quarterback from the team from Maryland props because,
that's not even my two because I still don't believe he's a passer. Because I mean,
does he need to?
The Kansas City, but they lost to Kansas City. If they get behind, he's not going to throw you back into that game.
I can't believe you're making me, by the way, stand up for the team from Maryland right now.
Hey, I've never changed how I've felt about him.
This is a fail on your part.
As soon as he would sit there and prove to me that he can throw when you need to instead of being up by 40 points. And of course, he could throw back there and pick anybody off because he's already ran for 200 yards and like 3 touchdowns. So of course you're going to be worried about that. But until he can prove that he's down and he can actually bring the team, back, he doesn't have to win it, but at least bring you back into the game by throwing, then I'll change my opinion on him. But until then, I still don't believe he's a good passer. He is not going to, if you're down by 10 points or whatever, he is not going to bring you back.
But that team, unless they're playing like the Chiefs, which everyone loses to the Chiefs almost, that team's just not going to be down that much. They have a stout defense.
It shouldn't be, but I mean, when you run into a good defense that isn't afraid to try to stop the run to make him pass, because think about it, when the Chargers beat them in the playoffs, they stopped the run, made you had to pass, and of course they got up by whatever it was, and they were relaxing, and that's why they came. I mean, they got close, but I mean, they weren't going to win that game. And then last year in the playoffs, Tennessee, they full out beat the hell out of them, and he only had the one passing touchdown, whatever it was at the end of the game. I mean, the game was already out of hand, and there was no way they were going to win. So it's like, if you got a defense, and that's what I'm hoping, because the Steelers got them next week. So as long as no one on the defense gets banged up too bad, it's like they need to do what they did against Baker, because when they played them last year and they kept it close, we had Rudolph and Hodges playing for us. So it's like they had to, and they did good, slowing him down, and they ended up losing in overtime by a shitty roughing the passer penalty.
Let me ask you this. Would you rather have a good passer or a guy who wins games? Because a lot of times really great passers miss the playoffs. Lamar Jackson's going to win you games, whether it's with his legs. And here's the thing. Here's the one thing I like about that guy. God, I hate giving this team credit. It makes me I thought it was the beer was going to make me throw up, but I really started to think it's talking about giving the team from Maryland props. I think that what I like about him is the one thing I've noticed from the games I've watched of his, and I have watched more than just the Browns games, is he doesn't care who he throws to. He's always looking for whoever's open. And I think I wish Baker, and I'm not meaning to go into the Cleveland thing, but just we talk about some of the things Baker could improve on. I think Baker gets in this where he's got these two guys who he wants to make happy, which Landry I don't think cares. I think Landry's the team leader. I think the guy is the best player on our team.
Yeah.
Outside of Myles Garrett, the best player on our offense. But he's got like guys like Odell who he wants to make happy. Where in Maryland, whoever's open, that's all he throws it to. He could give shit less. Like, and I wish Baker and other quarterbacks were more into that instead of having like a Julio Jones and being high on hitting him so much. Or you look at like Larry Fitzgerald in his big days, or these other big where you're just feeding them the ball even though they're not necessarily open. Which sure, occasionally it's going to pay off. You're gonna have great catches. But if you have a guy who just doesn't give a shit whose name's on the jersey and he's just looking for the open man, that's the guy I want leading my team. Whether he's got to run for first downs or throw for him, I don't care. Win me football games.
Yeah, and I understand where you're coming from, but I'd want a thrower because a thrower is going to win you championships.
I'm not loving this talk of Haskins to Cleveland.
There's been a lot of talk. Like, I've heard Haskins to Cleveland. I've heard Fitzpatrick to Cleveland. That was another one people were talking about.
Fitzpatrick doesn't make sense. We have Case Keenum, and we're paying him a lot of money to be a backup.
Yeah, really trading any quarterback to Cleveland kind of makes no sense right now. But I mean, they just
Haskins to Pittsburgh, which I heard a couple of weeks ago, that made sense to me. Problem is, it sounds like he's got a work ethic issue.
Yes, and that wouldn't last long. So I mean, I'd be interested. I don't like Rudolph. I didn't like him when we drafted him. I didn't like him in college. So it's like, I don't know. I'd be fine with freaking Haskins to give him a try. It depends what you got to give up, because obviously you're not going to give up a first round pick because he's not worth a first round pick. But
I mean, I a third or a fourth.
But it's like the way Snyder loves him so much. It's like I just don't see him giving him up basically that cheap. But
but Riviera's got all the power.
Yeah, true. I mean, so it could work out. But yeah,
that's a guy I feel bad for, by the way.
Haskins or Riviera?
Riviera fighting the cancer and having to coach the Washington football team.
Yeah.
Like, man, talk about bad luck.
Yeah, it's crazy, but he's doing a decent job. And luckily for him, his division sucks so bad that he could win 4 games and possibly win that division.
Yeah, I saw that on ESPN. I didn't read the story, but they're talking. I saw the headline was basically like, "What if a 4-12 team wins the East?"
I'm only joking. I didn't see that, but that makes it even funnier now.
Yeah, it's bad. And Dak's injury, that was ugly. He cost himself a lot of money.
Oh my gosh, dude! I sat there and I heard that he had it, and they were talking about like the text or the alert I got was already talking about surgery and everything. Well, I didn't see it, and I was like, I don't think I want to see it. So I was watching Football Night in America, and they were talking about it, and it's like normally they don't show it a lot, and so especially when they've already assumed like everybody's already saw it. So I'm watching it, and they're like, whatever they said, and they're like, and you could tell this wasn't good. And I was like, what happened? And I look up, I was like, oh my god! I was like, I didn't want to fucking see that. It's like his foot's waving at you.
I think it was maybe like Fox Sports or somebody. They were actually blurring it out. Not ESPN though. They're just like, look at this. Boom. Let's do it again. Yeah, those things, they're just gross to look at. You feel bad because he was betting. He's doing the old what's the guy from Minnesota? Quarterback. Who's the quarterback in Minnesota?
Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins. He's trying to pull the old Kirk Cousins, bet on himself, play on the tag.
I still think he's going to get paid.
No, I bet you he lost $20 million.
I don't know.
They say he's still the man, but come on, man.
Well, you got to think about it, because if the Cowboys really want to keep him, he's not going to budge that much on his number. And the Cowboys, you're either going to lose him, you're going to give him what he wants, or you're going to franchise tag him. And you're not going to want to franchise tag him because he's going to be like $38 million next year.
But no, I think you do franchise tag him, because I'd rather take a risk, pay him 1 year, right, under that tag, and to see if he's truly back from that injury, instead of signing him to a long-term deal where he's not back from the injury and you're just locked into a bunch of money. I actually think the gamble here is to pay him the franchise tag. And even at $38 million, because that's what Washington did, right? They paid, I think, Kirk Cousins 2 or 3 years on that franchise tag.
Yeah.
And eventually they said it wasn't worth it to them, which I don't think that was the right move for their franchise. Because no matter what you say about Cousins, like year after year, he's hitting, like his stats get better. So his team might not be winning, but his numbers are getting better. So to me, he's paying off. He just doesn't have the best defense. Like it's just not matching at the right times.
Yeah.
But I think like if you just look at his stat sheet, $100 million is all they paid for him. They got a steal. And here's the thing: he's going to be able to get paid again. He's going to get another fat deal. It probably won't be guaranteed this time.
Yeah.
I am still surprised that there hasn't been at least 1 or 2 more quarterbacks to get fully guaranteed deals. That he was the only one to be able to pull it off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it takes some big balls to bet on yourself like that too, though. To play through 2 or 3 franchises where you can't be franchised again, or where it's so prohibitive, where it's like, oh, it's going to cost us $47 million to franchise you. That's probably not a good deal.
Yeah.
I'm having a good time this NFL season. I think even with the COVID, I think the way they're like showing it on the TV, I think they learned a lot from watching the AAF and the other spring league, the XFL, about how to film these like low attendance stadiums. They're pumping in the sound, so on TV it feels real. The games have been good, and I think they've done a good job pushing some of these games like they've had to. It's going to get interesting. I think they're going to end up having to push the season out a couple of weeks if we keep having cases.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that to happen.
But I don't think anyone from the North, we haven't been affected yet. I mean, well, I guess Pittsburgh, but it wasn't Pittsburgh. You guys didn't have any cases, did you? It was Tennessee.
No, it was just Tennessee.
Are you going to get naked? Oh, gosh. This is my favorite part of the day. Jeez, I love that my wife's back in Ohio now. Or I should say in Ohio now. It's like this, man, makes things for... Just celebrate her. Can you believe she married me for 4 years? Like, we've lasted 4 years.
That's crazy.
And not got divorced yet.
Okay. Well, you just got her moved the other side of the U.S., so.
And I got her to cross the country. I feel like that is what love is all about. And fuck off anyone gives me shit about drinking my strawberries. They're good. And they give you a nice buzz. Are you going to paint? You don't have to, love. We've been painting nonstop. Like,
yeah.
We're not even close. There's so much more. Every room needs painted in this house, man.
Well, that's the bad thing because Miranda wants to like repaint the hallway, and then she wants to repaint our bedroom, and then Winnie overheard her talking, so Winnie wants her room repainted, and I'm like, yeah, just keep on adding to my list. Keep on adding. And that brings me to the other thing I want to tell you. When the guy was doing our bathroom, when he was putting in the tub, the way it was after we ripped everything out was where the tub is, it's like there really isn't a wall. Like it's just a couple beams so you could have it lock, put it in place. Yeah. So it's like you got a couple beams, well then you got our bedroom wall. Well, he was having trouble getting it in, and I wasn't really paying attention because I saw he had it kind of stuck. And then it's like he got it where it was fixed or whatever, he got it in. Well, the other day, Miranda was sweeping our room, and she was sweeping her side of the bed. And I get home, and she's like, there's a hole in our wall. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And she's like, has that always been there? And I was like, I'm pretty sure we would notice whenever we painted if there was a hole in our wall. Well, here, when he was putting it in, it was cockeyed. The corner of the fucking tub went through our wall. So it's behind the bed, so you can't see it unless now we know it's there. But I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? So now it's like, now I really got to repaint our room and everything.
Yeah. What do you need, honey? Yeah, I don't have anybody in here. Hey, by the way, shout out to my good buddy Ron Ruiz. Hope life treating you good out there, buddy. Good old ATI friend of mine from the when life was simpler. Oh, your chair. Kim came crawling in here, so she didn't get on screen. Only her. I love her so much. Yeah, so I don't know, man. It's been crazy. Did you watch? So you watched like the debate last night?
Yeah. Well, you were texting me about it.
Oh yeah, man. I'm telling you, I was drunk.
Oh,
the only way to get through this political atmosphere, I moved to Trump country. Like, I'm surrounded. We are, like, I think there's a Trump rally probably going on at the corner right now. I don't know.
Well, you didn't, sounds like you haven't learned anything.
No, well, I think it's Ohio. I don't think we don't have a lot of choices. Except for Kasich, because actually it looks like he's voting Biden. He's supporting Biden.
Yeah, I gave up on him before he came out with that. So I'm just like,
I will say yesterday's debate was at least a little more. I was, like I texted you, I was a lot disappointed at the moderator that she didn't control it. I felt like Mike Wallace, because it was such a shit show, the first one, Mike Wallace at least attempted to like say, dudes, we're here for, and she would just like, he'd like Trump do the whole like, and I'm not saying only Trump, Biden was the same way, but Trump was like basically like putting the hand out. It's like, wait a minute.
yeah.
I was like, that's pretty fucking rude. But she didn't control shit.
So it's like, that's the thing where it's like, because she would sit there and end up being like 30 more seconds, 10 more seconds, whatever, when they were trying to move on. But it's just like, I knew about the 2 minutes and then I knew 30 seconds. So it's like, was there actually, you can get another 30? Because that's the thing where I always get, because it's like, if they make a point on the one side and they say something about the other person, it's like, shouldn't they get to say something? Like, that's where my whole thing is, because it's like, you don't want to sit there and be like, if whatever, and just be like, oh, well, he killed a hooker at McDonald's last night. And then just be like, okay, next question. Climate change.
But I think you got to cut it off, right? I think you got to do one of two things. I think you got to cut it off after so long, right? Like, you can only stay on one subject for so long. And because if you let those two, because if you want to get to any like thing that matters, you got to go, okay, we've been back and forth enough on this. Y'all can like tweet about it later. What I think they should do, I think at least one of these debates every election should be like a 12-pack of beer and no suits. Just show up in like, I don't know, whatever you fucking polo shirt, whatever it is. And you're just like, have someone like me in there, like bringing up the subjects of like, how about that fucking healthcare? Right? And just drink. And then all of us are drinking, getting a little tipsy, not drunk because you want to still stay professional, but get just a little tipsy and like, just let them do that. Just let them go out. Like, God damn, I told you, Donald, whatever, and let's say the thing. Donald, the one thing I thought was funny, the one time I thought Donald said good when he's like, when Biden was talking about like the 500 kids still separated from their parents.
Yeah.
And I don't think he said good, but it literally sounded like he's like good. And I'm like, I think that's a bad thing to say, Don. or when Biden called him Abe, Abe over here.
Yeah.
Old Abe here is the least racist guy in the room. And I was like, oh God, no. I was like, yep. I was like, the Alzheimer's kicking in. We're having a relapse.
Yeah, I thought. See, it's like, and that's the thing, because it's like, luckily, whoever talked to him got in his ear where it's like, hey, it's like the first one was a shit show. It's like you were doing what they wanted him to do, but he wasn't letting him talk. Like, you could tell in the first debate, he was getting him flustered, but he wouldn't let him talk. And it's like, how is he going to say something stupid or go on one of his rambles or, screw something up if you're not letting him talk? Because it's like, I thought it was a missed opportunity for Trump. He just overdid it way too much. And then, like you said, with the moderator, it just seemed like the moderator, you could definitely tell the moderator was going like against Trump in that whole thing. Because, I mean, you picked.
Yeah, how can you tell that? Because I don't feel like.
You picked the only guy at Fox News that's a strong Democrat. And, like, everybody knows it because he talks about it. So that's who you pick. And it's like, because even Trump made the comment, he's like, I'm debating both of you guys. Where last night he sat there, and he did a couple of times where he sat there and he's like, you're doing a very fine job, a very good job, moderate. Like, you can definitely tell, like, I don't know if he respected her more or.
Well, see, I don't think he respected her at all. I don't think either did. I don't think either showed her respect, I guess I should say.
Well, I mean, it's a debate.
But you still show the moderator respect. I don't care if you hate each other. Like, here's the thing. Even Kim was like, oh, I'm kind of scared because he did better this time. Well, like Kim said before, that like usually whoever does real shitty the first time does better by the third time. And he did. Like, he even said some shit that I agreed with. And that's hard pill for me to swallow because I hate him so bad. But like, I try to give the guy credit when he says things that I agree with or that I think make sense. But I feel like it's so much fucking stone throwing. They don't actually talk about anything that matters. Like Trump says, "Oh, I'm going to have a plan for healthcare." Well, it's been 4 fucking years. You don't have a plan. You haven't popped up a plan. And don't tell me you prepay taxes. Come on, we all know that's bullshit. Just own that you only paid $750. I'd probably respect him more, honestly. Biden, he's fucking Biden. He's got Alzheimer's. I never thought he should have been the candidate.
Yeah,
I think it's a lose-lose for the country. Either way.
What's his name? Bernie. That's why everyone. Come on, it's like that thing was so staged because the last 3 dropped out and gave their endorsement to Biden. Like, it was all set up because they didn't want they didn't want Bernie to win because
he was winning. He was on his way to winning.
He was going to win again. So it's like you couldn't like rig it like you did the last time. So
and that's what I don't get about. That's what I don't get about Democrats. When do you learn that let whoever's going to win. Instead of picking these bullshit candidates that are not good candidates, like Kanye. I know. Where was Kanye in this? Kanye should have been up there in the debate. Shit would have been way more interesting.
On the ballot. So he hasn't met any of the requirements to be on there. Because, I mean, even the libertarian, the lady, George, whatever her name is, like, she hasn't even been to any of the debates because she doesn't have the numbers
But
met.
Tell me that Kanye doesn't make it more interesting.
Oh, it definitely would.
Twist this shit all up.
He already said he's just doing it to draw stuff away from Biden for Trump. So
Kanye might be a better candidate than Biden.
Well, I mean, anybody with like a functioning brain. I don't know. I was like, I don't want to be like too big.
No, I feel bad for Biden. That's my problem. I think it's almost elder abuse.
And that's the thing, because like I believe like with the whole Trump Corona thing, when Pelosi started talking about that Article 25 or whatever about the president being unfit thing, and she was like, we're just talking and putting it out there, whatever. I think they're doing it. She's doing it now. So if Biden wins, Kamala Harris is who they want to be president.
Then she should have won. I totally agree with you, but then she should have won the fucking.
Nobody liked her.
I understand, but that's what I'm saying. And if you look at her record, there's not a lot of reasons to like her. Like,
exactly.
She was all about like really screwing over people. Like, she was against marijuana. She's all about prisoning people for like even low amounts of marijuana. She's not.
The stuff that cracks me up is the people that are out there that are like systematic racism's real, this and that. It's like, and they're like, I'm going for Biden. It's like, so you're complaining that systematic racism's real, and you're going to vote for the guy who put the bill in that you complain is systematic racism, and the lady who followed it like 20 times the law and hid stuff to keep people in jail after she put them there. So that's who you're going to vote for. That makes no sense whatsoever.
This is interesting because I'm not a Democrat or Republican, but I do hate Trump. But I don't understand why the Democrats are so, I want to say retarded, but I feel like that word's not appropriate.
No, they're retarded. I mean, you can definitely, we're not talking about mentally handicapped people.
They're like, we're going to handpick a guy and we're going to screw over the guy who was probably the best option for their thing. And I think he could have debated Trump better. And he's a hard guy, because the one thing about Bernie, even if you think he's going to be a hardcore socialist or whatever you think about him, he's been consistent for like 30 years, 40 years, like pretty much since he's been in politics. Like, his story hasn't really changed. Like, I'm sure like everyone else, we all grow up or like we have life things and our opinions on certain things change. But his overall, like, his opinion of what the world should be like or what the country should look like hasn't changed. So at least you'd get like a consistent package from him. But no, the Democrats are like, yeah, we don't like him because really he's an independent and just runs as a Democrat. So we're going to dick him over twice. We're going to put Hillary in there, who's like the worst option to be our first woman president. And now we're going to put Biden in there because we think he's super popular. But the problem is he's not mentally capable. And even a couple of times, like, he fumbled up yesterday, and I was like, I mean, the thing about Lincoln was hilarious, but
I can't remember what he said afterwards. But right after that, it's like, in my opinion, I can't think. I wanted to rewatch it again because I was just sitting there and I was like, you had everyone laughing and then you blew it, with the continue and whatever. I can't remember what the hell it was they said after, but I'm just like, yeah, I was like, you blew what you just had.
Yeah, he can't, he couldn't hit a hard time putting some things together. Again, this isn't me hating Biden. This is honestly, truly me feeling bad that he is not mentally there. Like, he is no longer mentally capable to hold the office, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I brought this up around my mother-in-law when I was back in Utah. Last time I went back for my sister-in-law wedding, she vehemently disagreed with me. But I just don't.
Is because they don't want Trump, and I'm just like, I understand if you don't like Trump, but like some of the arguments people are making, it's just like, do you not hear what you are saying? Because it's like my sister-in-law, she was going on the one time about how, obviously she hates Trump, and she was like, how can you vote for somebody that's been accused of sexually assaulting somebody? I was like, so is Biden. Like, where are you going with that? Who are you going to vote for then? It's like, if you're using that argument, so is Biden. It's like, neither one's been charged. They've both been, there's just allegations. So it's like, that's a stupid argument to make, because you're going against the person you're going to vote for by your own argument. It's like stuff like that. And it's just like, a lot of people I just don't think they think stuff through before they say stuff. It's like, I understand if you don't like Trump, just say you hate Trump, but don't start trying to make up reasons, especially if it's a reason that falls in the same category, your guy falls in the same category as.
I will be so happy when this election shit's over. I don't even care who wins. I'll just be glad it's over, and I can focus on football and Lakers. LeBron winning another championship. Another good day.
Play.
You didn't watch a single play? Oh yeah, I forgot. You're all upset about the NBA stuff,
dude. Their ratings were so bad, and I can't stand Megyn Kelly.
I don't care. LeBron got a ring. That's all I care about.
I can't stand Megyn Kelly at all, and she had Mark Cuban on, and I was like, I'll listen to that because I know she's going to go after him for like the Black Lives Matter stuff for the NBA and China. Like, that's the only reason I listened to it, and it's like she did, and it's like, his arguments, and I'm just sitting there, and it's like, he was getting all fired up about it because, he believes they were doing what was right. And it's like, I understand you want to, you think you're doing what's right here, but when it comes to the China thing, like, they blew that so bad, and they're still blowing it so bad. And like, she finally got him mad enough because she was asking how much they get from like China, how much they pay for the NBA or whatever it is. And he was like, something like $500 million. And he's like, and I'm fine with taking their money. So it's like, okay, so you're here in America. You make more money in America for all your stuff, but you're going to go and like slam them for everything that's going on right now. But then you got China, you get 500 million from, who are doing a lot worse stuff than here right now. And you're fine with that. But he kept saying, he's like, I'm against any kind of social injustice. And it's like, well, you're not saying anything against China. You don't want to make them mad. So it's like, you can't say that if you're not sticking up for them putting people in concentration camps over there. It's like, you can't use that argument if you're going to be like, well, I'm fine with taking their money, but yeah, they lock them up away from us. But then you find out like they had the NBA camps that weren't that far from where they have their camps. Yeah. And like, they were mistreating the kids, beating them up and crap. And it's just like, nothing from the NBA.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, LeBron won a ring. That's what's important.
Any other time I'd have been fine, but I think he went overboard with everything. And like I said, every time he talked, he was giving misinformation about stuff. And it's like, that's the bad thing. It's like, when all the information's out there and you're still telling the wrong information, it's like, it takes 10 seconds. You got an internet, like everybody does. You can look it up if you're going to go on about it. And that's fine. Just give the right stuff. But then, and then like everything that happened in the bubble, he turned it to him somehow. And I'm just like, I like you, but I was like, you're just doing it too much. Because I think when Milwaukee boycotted Jacob Bush, I can't remember, too many names, but the guy in up there in Wisconsin that got shot 7 times in the back. When they boycotted their game, I didn't like it, but I understood it, and the way they were doing it, I agreed with. I was fine with it because they were going to take the loss. They were boycotting the game, an actual boycott. And the LeBron gets mad because they didn't talk to him first or the other top superstars. And it's like, well, why should they? It happened in Wisconsin. That's where they're at. It makes sense for them to do it. And then it's like, then everyone else is like, well, we're not going to play. So then they postpone the games. And like, he got mad about that because he's like, this isn't a postponement. This is a boycott. It's like, no, you're playing those games. You're getting paid for those games. A boycott is a loss for those games and whether or not they get paid or not. So it's like, you took the whole movement away from what Milwaukee Bucks were doing and make it, so you're center stage. And I believe he screwed it up. And it's just like stuff like that. It's like, every time it seemed like they were possibly going to do something, or they were trying to do something right, or somebody was, it's like he got in the middle of it, and I'm just like, it was pointless.
Yeah, but he's got a ring. I feel like that's what we're missing, the important topic here. He's one step closer to greatness.
What's greatness?
Being the best to ever play the game. I don't care about
he's
politics.
He's got like 7 more rings to go, so what does that matter? He ain't going to get it.
He doesn't. Michael's got 6.
Yeah, and Bill Russell's got 11. So that's the thing that always gets me. Like, I understand Jordan's a heck of a player, but if the big argument, which everybody makes, is when they,
I don't think it should be about rings.
And that's fine, but every time people argue about Jordan and LeBron, it's always rings. So it's like, if you're doing that, then Jordan's not even the best player. So it's like, but then it's like, well, he was better than Russell. It's like, I agree, but your argument's rings. So it's like, here you go. That's what I mean. It's like, I love irritating people because it does. It pisses people off because it's like, well, that ain't what I'm doing. And it's like, well, you're not doing it right then. So
I don't think you're wrong. Like, I've never thought it should be about rings. I think the whole ring argument's ridiculous. I think the ring argument could put you over the top if the conversation's close enough. But I don't think it's all about ring. I think it's a whole thing. And like where I think like LeBron makes other team members better than Jordan ever did.
Yeah.
I'll
agree with that. And also, if you look at it, I know a lot of people like to make the comment where it's like LeBron wouldn't have been able to survive in Jordan's era because of the way they played. And it's like, he's a pretty big guy, so it's like that's kind of a far stretch. But it's like, even if you look at Jordan's era, it's like when he started winning the rings, it started turning the more ticky-tack fouls, kind of like they're doing now. So it's like, in the end, the NBA was not as bad as they are now, but they were definitely getting close to that.
I think it's funny that people forget about Michael's first 7 or 8 years where they sucked.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking not making playoffs. And then they go out and they get Pippen. All of a sudden, oh, wait, now he's got a second, great player, right? And they start building these players around him. All of a sudden, they start winning rings. But no one talks about saying, so LeBron was 7 years in before he made it to a finals. Jordan was 7, 8, 9 years in before he made it to a finals. Sure, he won 6 out of 7. I give him all the props in the world.
Jordan won 6 out of 6.
6 out of 7. He didn't. There was a year in between. He didn't play.
Yeah, but he only played in 6.
Sure, but here's the thing, and I don't like that argument either. Like, people say that, the 6 out of 6, he hasn't lost championship. Okay, but LeBron was just in, I think, his 10th championship. His, I think, 9th finals out of 8 years, or 9 finals out of 10 years, or 8 out of 9, some shit like that.
9 out of 10.
I think, let's give some credit. Okay, Jordan didn't win those championships by himself, right? You have to have a team around you. That's been proven throughout any era of basketball. You have to have a whole team. And LeBron, he took think about that first Cavs team he took to the championship.
Oh yeah,
a bunch of just jokesters that probably wouldn't start on a lot of other rosters. And
it was definitely him, driving that whole team, And that's the other big thing, because LeBron gets the hack because it's he'll pass to somebody for the final shot. Jordan did that so many times in the finals, and no one says anything.
Yeah,
because most of the time they made the shot. Where LeBron's case, they don't always make the shot.
And then they'll say that's why Mamba's better, because he would take the shot. I think it's what is the best thing for the team to win, which I think the one thing LeBron does best, and it's not popular, I would say 80% of the time, he's putting the ball in the best position to actually win the game. Now, if the guy hits the shot or not, that's, it's law of averages. But is he making the right pass to the right guy to put the team in the best spot? And I think he does that better than just about anybody ever. Excuse my language. I mean, my burps. Hey, what do you think about all these? Now the movie theaters are all closed again. Are we ever going to get new movies?
Hopefully next year. But that's the thing. What are they waiting for? What are you waiting for? Because
I would stream them, right?
That brings me another good point from the debate last night, which I thought Trump made a very good comment, and Biden, he played to the people. So it depends how you look at it. But Trump sat there and he said that we're learning to live with the virus. And then Biden's like, no, we're learning to die with the virus. It's like, it's a virus. It is not going anywhere. Even if we get a vaccine, that doesn't mean it's going away. Because it's like,
you could become, with a vaccine, you could become immune.
Could, but they don't even know that for sure yet.
Sure. Like, we don't know. And that's the problem.
Because even if you say that, because look, the flu's still there. People still die from the flu. There's a vaccine for the flu. So it's like, you got to learn to live with it. Because the flu's still here. Anything there's a vaccine for, there's been so many viruses, illnesses over time that you had to learn to live with until there was a vaccine. So it's like, I thought that was a better point for Trump making that comment. But I mean, Biden, it just depends how you looked at it.
But the flip side is blame who you want. Like, it was handled poorly. Like, we are in a worse case. We are worse. I don't care who you blame. Trump, Democrats, Pelosi, could care less. We are worse off than just about every other country from where we started to where we are compared to a lot of other countries. And it's because, like, we're either too cocky to wear masks, or like we're badasses and Americans shouldn't have to wear. I hate the fucking mask. Ask my wife; she'll tell you. Like, I do pickup. Like, my groceries get delivered. But if we go out, guess what I have to do? I put on my fucking mask. Even if I don't think the virus is like what they say it is, I just think there's a level of respecting other people's, like, if it's legit, like, there's a reason why we're still like in a shit situation, and a lot of the rest of the world, like in China, they're back to having like live concerts, all this shit. Like, they're kind of back to normal.
Yeah, but that's a totally different ran country. I mean, if you didn't follow a rule, I mean, they locked you in a room. All the stuff about stuff they did there. But
what I'm saying, I don't care how they did it.
That aren't communists, they're all starting to flare back up. Because that's the thing. Where's the point? Because, if you think about it, which I know they brought up at one of the things and they were like using it as a bad thing, but herd immunity, I mean, there's got to be a point. Like, because right now it's like, yes, the numbers are going up. In certain states, the hospitalizations are getting up.
Utah, they're over 100% on their emergency room right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Kim told me that yesterday. They're over 100% on their capacity.
That's crazy. Because like I said, there's certain states that are getting up there, but it's like up until now, you've been getting the people that's been getting it, but the hospitals weren't getting slammed by it.
I guess why not? Like, why wouldn't we? Even if you hate it, even if you're like me and you think that it's not as bad as they say it is, right? Why wouldn't you at least like throw in a fucking mask? Like 2 seconds going into a store. Like, I watch all these freaking YouTube videos and TikToks of people throwing fits because they have to wear a mask in a store.
Those are pretty fun.
Like, if you don't want to do it, then just fucking do pickup. Do the curbside pickup. Do the order like we do. Like, there's ways around it where you can still kind of like avoid like even having that little bit of risk.
Yeah.
And still like not like giving into, like, you can think it's bullshit. That's the great thing about being American. You have free thought, you have free speech. But like, stores have the right, like, that's what gets me is these people are like, you don't have the right to not let me shop at the store. Yeah, they fucking do. It's called the right to refuse anybody. And if they like, that's why they have like no shirt, no shoes, no service.
Yeah.
Now, if my fat ass walked into Walmart, okay, Walmart's a weird thing because sometimes they let people just do whatever the fuck they want at Walmart. But if I walked in like your average store, right, without my big old tits hanging out without a shirt on, they're gonna tell me I can't shop there until I put a fucking shirt on.
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm gonna be like, oh, I can't believe this, you motherfuckers. I'm American. I should get shop here with my tits just hanging out. I got tassels over my nipples. I should be good. No, like no shirt, no shoes, no fucking service. Now they got no mask.
Yeah.
But I'm also pissed at the stores because I walk into like Menards, which I spend a lot of time at these days, or Lowe's, and fucking they're not even following their own protocols. Like, I mean, the employees have masks, but like they're not stopping people who don't have masks.
A lot of places aren't.
And I'm like, that's part of the problem. Like, it's not so much like if you're gonna have it, you have to enforce it. Because when you're not, that's giving people who can be an asshole like me, like, well, I'm fucking American. I don't need to wear it. Fucking Joe Schmo I've seen 6 people come out here without masks on.
Yeah.
Like, I go into Lowe's and there's like half the people don't have masks on.
Yeah, I think it's not as bad around here. I mean, there's certain places I know where I go, like if I go to most gas stations, a lot of people don't wear them inside the gas station, stuff like that. We got one place that's making the news quite a bit right now, Top Notch Diner. They have a sign on their window that says we do not enforce mask wearing, flat out. And like they've had like 40 people complain. So like it went to like the health board and they were still like, fuck it, we're still not making people wear them. And then now like there might be some like legal action coming. I don't know like what could happen, but so they're fighting that right now. And they were even had a little spot on the news tonight where they're interviewing the owner, and she is like, what's the point of wearing it in to sit down and take it off? But she doesn't make her employees wear it either, so people get mad about that. And it's like, if you're complaining, like, you know, it's
how is she staying open on the news. Isn't that a governor mandate?
Well, mandate, it's not a law.
I kind of thought that's what a mandate was. I mean, it's not
because you can't. I don't think you can make it a law.
But you can get fined. They can fine you, and they can take away your. Like, I know down here, like when the first mask they've taken away like 2 or 3 bars licenses permanently.
They do, but I think in the end it's going to be bad because if you get a good enough lawyer, I mean, it's not a law. Like, they can't force you to do that. So, you know, you have a pretty big case where they have a chance of actually, you know, winning it. So, I mean, like I said, it's going to be interesting to see whenever this all starts. Whatever.
Problem is, like, I guess what do we do? Because at some point, like, we're never going to like actually get back to any like we started this whole thing with like the theaters. Like, I'm waiting for Top Gun fucking Maverick, and they won't even put it out on streaming.
Yeah, but they pushed it back a whole year, didn't they?
Yeah, I think it comes out in April or July. Fast Furious got pushed back a year. But now AMC just closed all their shit down here in Japan, I think, or in China, wherever. But like, they're not planning on opening anytime soon.
No, because the final draw was Bond. When they moved Bond back, because it was supposed to open up in November, and it got pushed back to whenever. And that was the final draw, because that's when all the theaters were like, well, they were hoping that was going to be their chance to get their money, you know, make money, this and that. And as soon as they pushed it back, they're like, there's nothing coming out. No one's releasing anything. So that's why they started closing everything down, basically. So
yeah, you can't blame them. I mean, if there's no new movies,
yeah, but make money. We got a theater downtown Warren that used to be a big movie theater back in the day, and it had been closed for a long time. Well, someone bought it the other year and redid the whole thing. It looks real nice inside, and they were having concerts and stuff there. Well, with everything going on now, they put it back to like a movie theater, so they've been showing a lot of like old movies, and it's like $7 for tickets for it. And it's like this weekend they're showing the original Halloween, and I wanted to go, but I couldn't find anyone to go, and I'm like,
oh, speaking of Halloween, I want to recommend something to you. I don't know if you do TikTok, but I think he's on YouTube too. Go look up, or Facebook, look up Michael Myers of Decatur.
Yeah, Winnie's hooked on him.
Oh, you've seen him?
Oh yeah,
that is fucking hilarious. He's sitting there walking through the field, and his wife is like, "Are you kidding me? Again? I've got people calling me." Or he's got this. Do you see the one with the stabbing wagon?
That's Winnie's favorite one because she'll sit there and she's like, I want to watch the stabbing wagon. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe our daughter's already saying that. It's
Yeah.
like,
I came across that through on TikTok, and I think it is absolutely hilarious.
It's not that far from where Trisha lives. And because I think that's where when Miranda goes on her purse sale, that's where it's at. And so, because I saw it on Facebook, someone had it, and I showed Miranda, and she thought it was funny, and Winnie thought it was hilarious. And so, Miranda's like, "That's close to Trisha." So then Winnie's like, "Well, tell Trisha to be careful, but tell her to try to find them for me." Like she's all like she's nervous, but she thinks it's hilarious. So every day since I've showed it, I think it was Tuesday I showed them, and so every day I bring her home from school, and she's like, "Can we watch the stabbing wagon?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's so bad, but it's hilarious that she asked for it like that."
Did you watch? Did you guys see the one where he's throwing toilet paper? He's riding around on the bike.
We've watched them all. We've even saw the news clip ones with them. So
it's hilarious. He just stays still. Like he plays it so well.
He does. The baby. That's the other one Winnie loves. She loves the baby one. He just drops the baby in the crib.
I don't think I've seen that one yet.
Oh, it's hilarious because he's making his bottle, and it's like he puts the bottle in the microwave, and the kid's looking at him. He just slams the door shut, and the baby kind of runs away. But then he crouches down, and he sticks out his arm for like a hug, and then his baby runs over to him, gives him a hug, and then it shows him he walks into the baby's room, and he puts the bottle in the crib, and he just holds the baby out and just drops him, and then he puts a blanket over him and hands him his bottle. And I'm like, oh my gosh. But yeah, Winnie loves that one.
Yeah, I have to watch that. I have to try to find that one. I love that one.
Yeah, if you just go on YouTube and look them up and pick, he has a page. There's a Thanksgiving one. That one's hilarious.
I haven't seen it. I seen the one when they're on the canoes.
That one's
when they're rafting. And she's like, he sneaks that damn mask everywhere. That one's pretty good.
That one's funny. The Thanksgiving one, hey, they're sitting there at their families around the table, and I don't know, someone's dad's like, "Who's gonna carve the turkey?" And all of a sudden he walks out, and they got this little knife, and he looks at it, and he just throws it, and he pulls his out, and he's like, "What?" It just hits the turkey. But there's that. There's a Valentine's Day one that's funny. The Christmas one's pretty funny.
Yeah, I have to check those out. I think they're hilarious.
Yeah, just look him up on YouTube. He's got a page and just click on it, and they're all there.
Well, I got a freaking date to watch The War with Grandpa. You got anything else tonight before we? It's been an hour and a half.
Not that I could think of. Talk about football.
I'm glad we could finally fucking get together.
Yeah, I've been having so much in sports, especially with all like the political crap building up. I'm like, I don't have anyone to talk to about it because it's like Randy kind of talks, but then like I started getting kind of worked up because I was like, even like last night, you know, after the debate, I don't know why I do it to myself on purpose, but I'll sit there and I turn it on to CNN because like their fact checking stuff cracks me up because it's like they won't say anything about Biden, but like every little thing about Trump because they sat there. The one that got me where I was like really laughing was when he was talking about foreign policy. I can't remember whatever group we're in, one of them over there, and he was saying how like with him talking, he's got them to pay other countries to pay more. They're going to pay like 140 billion or 104 billion, and it could go up to 400 billion. And that's how he said it. He didn't say any, I don't remember him saying any time frame. He just said, you know, they're starting out at this and this is where it's supposed to end. And so like they're fact checking it and they're like, well, was he right about that? And they're like, well, kinda, but he sat there and said it's a yearly thing. And I'm like, I don't remember him saying anything about time. They're like, it's not, it's till this certain date. And then because he did say 400 billion, they're like, and it's 400 billion at the most, and he said 420. So it's like he's trying to tell the truth, but then he has to make it like it's bigger than it is. And Trump does that a lot. I agree. I know that, but it's just like they're putting words in his mouth, and they're being like, he meant it like this, and they're like, so it's misleading, and it's like you guys are going out of your way to like fact check him and like to make it bad, and it's like. I understand the only fact check you can do on Biden is him saying, I'm Joe Biden, former vice president, and he's right. And then after that, you're kind of like, what did he say? You know?
I do think it's interesting that there's already been almost 40 million votes.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
I think this might be either way. This might be one of the most, which is a good thing, but one of the most highest elections of people actually participating.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting with everything that happens because, I mean, everything about this thing, it just gets crazier by the day because it's like you got all this stuff about like the Supreme Court and it's probably going to go to that. And
yeah, that pissed me off too a little bit.
What?
That they're confirming this chick.
No, I'm fine.
I don't even care about her. I just think that you look 4 years ago, and whatever his name was, I'm a little tipsy. They even get a hearing. They even get a hearing because it was an election year. Fucking, it was in February, by the way. And it's like, it's election year, Gorsuch. And they're like, it's election year.
Yeah, Gorsuch.
And we shouldn't do this until the new president, until the election's over. And all of a sudden, Trump's like, they're like, oh, we got to push this motherfucker in.
Yeah.
Well, that's my only problem. I care less about her. I don't know much about her. I know she's got like 7 kids, adopted a couple African Americans.
And that's the other funny thing, because I was watching actually some of the trial, whatever it's called, the interview process. I don't know whatever you call it, and like
the hearings.
Yeah, and some of the questions the Democrats were asking, I'm just like, do you not hear what you're saying? Like, I understand you're pissed, but it's like, at least make sense, It's like, because it's like the one person asked about, because their big thing is Roe versus Wade. And
which I think should just be considered settled law. I hate when we keep like going after it. It just seems like a waste of time. But
what was it? There was one other one. I can't remember what the other thing. Oh, about if it's contested and it's got to go Supreme Court. They kept asking if she would recuse herself, and she wouldn't answer because like it's the Ginsburg. They call it the Ginsburg law. Like you're not supposed to answer. You don't have to answer anything that's going to let it show. That might show what way you would side or something like that. Whatever. So it's like
I think those hearings are stupid because no one ever answers anything.
Well, that's the thing. It's like ask her questions she can answer. There's other court cases that she's worked on that she's done that you could ask her, but they wouldn't. They're asking her about stuff that's going to be coming up because that was the other thing, the Affordable Care Act. They kept asking her stuff about that, and it's like I can't answer. It's like it might be something that comes in front of us. It's gonna come in front of them, and it's like they just kept going on about it, and it's like ask a question that she can answer. And
I would go back to like if I was doing those because, like I said, I don't think any of these can't like any of those. And it's not even like a Republican Democrat thing. They never answer questions. I would literally bring out specific cases. So on, Yokomo versus Kamuka, like you found for this reason on their side. Why?
And surprisingly, a couple people actually did finally, ask, but then they always try to swing it back, be like, well, you sided this way because of that. Now, how would you put it with this? And it's like, she already told you before you asked the last question that she could answer that she couldn't answer that one. So why are you going back? But anyway, the one lady, it was funny because she said that she asked everybody, and she asked if she had ever been accused of sexually assaulting anybody. And I was like, really? That's what we're going with? But then like one of the Ted Cruz things I listened to, he sat there and they brought that up, and he's like, I give her credit. She does ask that to everybody. That's one of the questions she asked everybody. So I'm like, he's like, she stayed on par. But then Cory Booker asked her, which I thought was hilarious. He's like, because he tried to make it where it was right for him to ask. And he's like, with the stuff going on and how the president is, will you right now denounce white supremacy? And it's like, do you not see the 2 black kids I got back here? Yeah. It's like, and then she's like, yeah, I can denounce it. She's like, I don't like it. And he's like, oh, I just had to ask. He's like, the president. And it's like, how many times do you want that motherfucker to say he denounces white supremacy? It's like, should he wake up every morning and be like, tweet out, I denounce white supremacy? It's like, he said it enough. I could care less.
Christ. What was I going to say? I forget what I was going to say. Go.
Sorry.
It's partly the strawberry as well. Turns out I'm a pussy when it comes to drinking.
Yeah, I know.
What? Kim says it's cute.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't feel cute. Feel like I'm pretty tipsy right now. And we missed 2 spots on the wall, I can see. But I like the color. We picked a good color. I can't wait till we can get you guys down here. Once we have the shit set up and you guys can see our sweet table. Unless you want to come down and paint or put up some doors.
Hey, if I get a weekend, I can come down.
Tape and mud a wall. I don't know how to do that.
I don't either. But I could paint.
I think we're gonna start a freaking. Told Kim I want to start a YouTube channel. Call it. What did I say? Dummy DIYers. And just because Murphy Manor has so much work she needs done, and a lot of it we're gonna have to do ourselves. I mean, I think I could have probably done a better fence job than the guy who did the fence. But and just like have a whole channel of us like fucking trying this shit out. Like, oh, watch this YouTube video today. I'll put his link in the fucking button. Boop. We're never gonna tape and mud this some bitch. All right, buddy. I'm gonna get off here. I'm gonna go watch a war with Grandpa.
Since, hey, is that on the app that we got?
It's on. I'll send you where it's at.
Okay. Because I saw
you should get this other thing.
I know Borat 2 came out.
What did?
Wait, is it the one that you put on my? Because you put on a movie thing when you were up here.
I did.
Yeah, I can't think of what the name of it is right now.
Was it Cyber something?
I think so.
It's on there.
Okay, I'll check that because I want to see that movie. But yeah, the new Borat came out on Amazon Prime.
I know. I want to watch that too. I want to watch that. Where's Kevin Tay? Oh, here we go. Yeah, that looks hilarious. And did you see the thing about that real quick before I go? How they got fucking Trump's attorney. Looks like
Rudy Giuliani.
Looks like he's trying to hook up with like a 15-year-old.
Yeah, they already. I guess that came out back in like June or something because he filed a police report because he thought they were setting him up for blackmail or something like that.
I think it's hilarious.
But they said that they edited that scene so badly to make it look like that.
I don't care. It's still hilarious.
I know. I didn't see that in the preview, so yeah, I'm probably gonna.
I read about it
when I go up there.
All right. Well, I'll send you that thing. If you don't have that one, let me know. I'll tell you how. It's really easy to get.
Okay.
And but that's one I highly recommend. If you don't have it, you get it because it's got everything.
Okay.
And it's free.
All
right, buddy. You have a good night.
All right, you too.
Everyone else, take it easy. I'm gonna go drink beer, paint, watch a movie, try to get fondled. Everyone, take care. Bye.
Later.